Tale of the Sun and Moon by Megan Slime. Episode 7, The Soldier. 34 AG, Earth Kingdom. Near a large pond, Taki sits on a small boulder, eating some jerky while Raiden leans against a nearby tree, sharpening his dagger. Taki doesn't say anything, but makes various sounds as she glances over at Raiden randomly. Inhaling, Raiden tries not to notice, but he can't help it. Finally, he lets out a quiet sigh, puts away his dagger, and looks over at Taki.
Have something on your mind, Taki? You're uncharacteristically quiet.
I was just wondering, how did you master airbending? All of the air nomads were wiped out over 30 years ago.
I merely traveled to each of the air temples and studied all the scrolls and murals that I could find.
But why did you even want to learn airbending martial arts? It's not like you'll ever face an airbender in battle.
Airbending lends itself to exceptional staff work, which benefits my fighting style greatly. Besides, every bending art form has invaluable advantages for both offensive and defensive moves.
Ah, makes sense.
Taki looks down in thought. Slightly annoyed by her unusual silence, Raiden pushes off of the tree, grabs his staff, and moves towards Isla, who is lying down a short distance away.
We should get moving.
Can you teach me some rare waterbending moves?
Raiden stops and slowly turns to face her, but says nothing. Taki stands and moves towards him.
Just think, if any Fire Nation soldiers hinder our mission, we'll be able to defeat them easier if I'm a stronger waterbending warrior.
With a quiet exhale, Raiden leans his staff against another tree.
One move, then we go.
Great. Then you better make it the most powerful move you know.
With a slight roll of his eyes, Raiden moves over to the large pond as Taki follows closely.
Let's do the tidal slam, which is similar to the water whip, only on a much larger scale.
Okay, works for me, Master Raiden.
Ignoring Taki's comment, Raiden widens his stance and raises his arms.
You need a firm stance and outstretched arms in front of you.
Taki mirrors Raiden's position and movements.
You must keep your chi flowing strong throughout both your arms and legs evenly.
Narrowing her eyes, Taki focuses her energy intently. Raiden stands tall and turns to observe her stance. A moment later, he moves to readjust her arm positions from behind her. As he does this, Taki feels her face grow warm, but she does her best to maintain the energy focus.
Now, slowly raise your arms up while pushing forward to create a massive wave.
Gently, Raiden guides Taki's arms upwards slowly, which causes a huge wave to rise up from the water. Feeling Raiden's arms around her, Taki subconsciously causes the wave and water to simmer with heat. Noticing this, Raiden glances at Taki for a moment before slowly lowering his arms and stepping back.
Finally, thrust your arms downwards with all of your flowing chi to cast the wave towards your target.
Narrowing her focus, Taki does exactly as Raiden says, and slams the enormous wave into some nearby rocks. The impact is mighty to behold. Slightly out of breath, Taki stands upright and smiles brightly as she gazes over at the drenched rocks and wavy waters. Her eyes drift over to Raiden, whose face remains stoic as always.
Superb execution of the move. Although for a moment there, it seemed like you were heating the water, practically to boiling.
Huh. Yeah, that's actually a new skill that I've developed recently. I think it has something to do with my father being a firebender and all.
Rare skill indeed. And now that you've learned a new waterbending move, we need to be moving.
Without waiting for Taki's response, Raiden turns, grabs his staff, and moves to Isla, who lifts her head up to look over at him.
Raiden,
He glances back at him.
thanks for this.
Still smiling, Taki walks over to Raiden and Isla.
My mother was a waterbender, like me. I only wish I could have known her. She died shortly after I was born. All I have left of her is this.
Taki glances down at the broken black stone necklace below her chin.
My father made this for my mother for their engagement. He holds the other half of it.
Raiden looks over at her necklace for only a moment before turning away and climbing onto Isla. Instead of mounting Isla, Taki stares up at Raiden with inquisitive eyes.
What's your family like, Raiden?
Remaining silent, Raiden faces away.
You must have had a family. Everyone needs someone.
Raiden glances over at her with lifeless eyes.
I need no one.
But Raiden,
This conversation has no relevance to the mission. We must continue on to the post office.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Looking down, Taki slowly climbs in front of Raiden on Isla's back. Once they're both secure, Isla stands and takes off into a casual sprint through the forest path. 34 AG, Earth Kingdom, Fire Nation Colony. With Isla hiding outside of the Fire Nation Colony town, Taki and Raiden find themselves in the midst of a bustling Fire Nation festival with soldiers on every street.
Man, this place is crawling with Fire Nation soldiers. We'll have to be discreet as we search for the post office.
Agreed. Cover more ground separately.
Without waiting for a response from her, Raiden makes his way through the crowd, leaving Taki alone. Swiftly, he moves through the bustling streets and eventually stops to survey the nearby buildings. His eyes widen as he notices a tall building with several windows and a mailing sign above the door. Narrowing his eyes intently, Raiden sidesteps through the passing pedestrians and enters the building. Countless messenger hawks line the walls and ceiling, resting on wide poles. A woman behind the counter raises her head when Raiden enters.
Ah, finally a customer. Not too many folks needing to send out letters during a festival.
I don't need to mail anything. I simply need to ask you some questions.
Really? What about?
Do you recall a dark-haired man named Tayo passing through this town in the last decade or so? He would have had a burn scar on his right wrist.
A burn scar? Ah, yes, I do remember such a man coming in here. It must have been over 10 years ago now. I remember the day he came in like it was yesterday.
20 AG, Earth Kingdom, Fire Nation Colony. The male woman stands behind the counter as Tayo enters the post office.
Excuse me, I'd like to send out a letter.
You're in the right place.
Tayo returns her smile and hands his folded letter to her. She takes it and falters when she sees his scarred wrist.
Oh, your hand.
Some wounds never quite heal.
Unsure of what to say, the male woman busies herself with rolling up the letter and tying it. She holds up her arm for a messenger hawk to land on it.
And where shall I send the letter?
To the city of Shujing in the homeland.
Do you have family there or something?
I'm hoping so.
Well then, we'd better get your letter sent out right away.
Tayo smiles as the male woman places the rolled up letter in the canister on the back of the hawk.
Thank you. It is much appreciated.
34 AG, Earth Kingdom, Fire Nation Colony. The male woman rests her arms on the counter with a sigh as Raiden stares back at her expectantly.
If I recall correctly, he stayed in town for a few days until a return letter finally arrived for him. But he didn't much care for what the letter said.
What did it say?
It wasn't good news, that much I remember. But if you'd like to see for yourself, I might still have the letter here somewhere.
The woman starts searching through the various drawers of the counter.
He certainly didn't want to keep it, and it just so happens I tend to keep mysterious letters of folks who pass through. Have to keep myself amused somehow. Oh, here it is.
Triumphantly, the male woman hands a partially crumpled letter to Raiden, who quickly reads over its contents. He looks up at her with a serious expression.
May I keep this letter?
Raising an eyebrow, the woman eyes Raiden suspiciously.
Really? And what for?
It's significant to my mission.
Raiden looks down.
It's important to a friend of mine.
Well, I suppose in that case, sure, it's yours.
Glancing up, Raiden gives a small nod to the woman.
Do you happen to know where the man might have gone next?
I know he was fairly devastated when he read the letter and didn't seem to have much of a plan going forward. But I remember suggesting that he check out one of the harbor towns to the south. Those type of cities always need hard-working folks. Not sure if he went there or not.
I see. Your cooperation and insight is appreciated.
With that, Raiden turns sharply and walks out of the post office with the intent of finding Taki among the crowd. By now, she's made her way to the other side of the town. With no such luck finding the post office, Taki wanders aimlessly through the crowded streets looking for Raiden. She stops when she catches a glimpse of Raiden's face through the moving pedestrians. Carefully, Taki steps between and around various people until she's within earshot of him.
Finally, there you are. I thought I'd never find you.
Wide-eyed, Taki freezes when she realizes the young man in front of her is not Raiden. His facial features, bronze eyes, and dark brown hair are identical to Raiden's, except for his hair being pulled into a small ponytail. Also, he wears the armor of a Fire Nation captain. He studies Taki intently.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were someone else.
That's quite all right. I take it you're looking for this someone.
Yes, I am, but
Then allow me to aid in your search.
no, really, that's okay. I'll be perfectly fine on my own.
You wouldn't refuse the help of the Fire Nation military, would you?
No, of course not.
Good. Captain Hakan at your service.
Hakan turns to Faye, a tall girl with long black hair pulled up into a ponytail standing near him. She wears the armor of the Yuyan archers and has a long bow and a quiver of arrows strapped to her back. Her gray eyes are surrounded by the red tattoo of the Yuyan archers.
Faye, inform Lieutenant Chang and the rest of the soldiers that I will return shortly.
Yes, sir.
Swiftly, Faye moves away, leaving Hakan and Taki alone amongst the sea of people.
Now, whom do I have the pleasure of escorting today?
Oh,
You've forgotten your own name.
no, I'm Taki.
Very well, Taki. Follow me.
Before Taki has a chance to respond, Hakan starts walking down the street. With a nervous sigh, Taki reluctantly follows alongside the Fire Nation captain.
Now, how would you describe this person we're searching for? Besides the fact that he looks just like me.
Hakan glances over at Taki with focused eyes as he waits for her response. Taki swallows slowly.
Well, he's about your height, with the same color of hair and eyes.
Interesting.
Hakan looks down in thought for only a moment before glancing back over at Taki with slightly narrowed eyes. Taki feels as though he's studying her every word and movement.
And what is his relationship to you?
He's a friend.
I see. And what brings the two of you to this village?
Oh, we just came to see the festival.
If you're going to try deceiving a Fire Nation officer, you might want to work on your lie.
Taki looks down and says nothing.
What are you really doing here?
I'm here trying to find clues as to the whereabouts of my father.
And who is your father?
Taki pauses for a moment before answering.
He was a Fire Nation soldier many years ago.
Ah, a fellow soldier, and a firebender as well.
Yes, but I've actually never met him before.
Well, I am most certainly willing to use my military connections to help you find your father.
Thank you. But, you seem kind of young to be a captain.
I suppose 15 does seem young to most, but I come from a long line of prestigious firebending masters and Fire Nation military leaders. Let's just say I was born into this life. But enough about me. Let us continue the search for your friend.
With a wry smile, Hakan puts his hand on Taki's back to lead her past various buildings and down a dirt road away from the town. They move into the nearby woods with a wide river nearby. Taki stops walking when she realizes this.
Wait, where are we going?
Hakan stops a few paces from Taki but keeps his back to her.
If your so-called friend is who I think he is, then we won't be able to find him.
Hakan turns to face Taki.
The lightning shadow can only be found when he wants to be.
Taki's eyes grow wide as her jaw drops slightly. Slowly, Hakan walks towards her.
My only question is, why would he associate with you? What makes you so special?
Taki says nothing and simply stares back at Hakan with bated breath. He inches closer to her and slowly reaches out his hand.
I wonder, would he reveal himself if you were in harm's way?
Just as Hakan's hand is about to touch Taki's face, a small blade flies through the air from a nearby tree and strikes Hakan's bracer. This casts his arm aside. Both Hakan and Taki turn to the tree just as a flash of black jumps from the branches and lands a few feet behind Hakan.
Finally.
Slowly, Hakan turns to face Raiden. For a few silent minutes, the two of them stare back at one another with very intent eyes.
What's it been now? 7 years or so? Here we are at last, brother.
Brother? You two are brothers?
With a smirk, Hakan glances back at the wide-eyed Taki.
What's the matter, Taki? Don't recognize twins when you see them.
Eyes frantic with realization, Taki glances back and forth between Hakan and Raiden. Besides their hairstyling and clothing, they are identical.
Twins.
Hakan faces Raiden once again.
Well, Rai, or should I say, Lightning Shadow, you know what happens now.
Taki, go to Isla.
What? But Raiden...
Taki.
Raiden glances past Hakan to Taki. For the first time, she sees a slight look of concern in his eyes. For this reason, Taki nods, turns, and dashes away into the surrounding forest. With a sly smile, Hakan watches her go. Then he turns back to his brother.
Honestly, after all your years alone, I'm surprised you resigned to traveling with some girl. That is, unless you care for her.
Forget her. You're here for me.
Only because you leave me no choice. You've made quite the name for yourself, brother. Your mercenary acts are known throughout the nations. Heinous crimes that the Fire Nation will not stand for any longer.
Prepping to firebend, Hakan raises his arms but doesn't attack.
Then what are you waiting for, Hakan?
Inhaling sharply, Hakan suddenly punches a fist forward to shoot a brilliant fire blast towards his brother. Swiftly, Raiden dives and rolls to avoid it. Using his other fist, Hakan releases another flaming attack at him. Pushing his staff into the ground, Raiden uses it to thrust himself high into the air. He spins in motion and comes down hard with his staff at the ready. Hakan holds up both his arms crossed in front of him to block the steel staff in his metal bracers. They stand face to face, pushing against one another.
I must say, your skills have certainly improved, Rai. I wondered how you've been able to take down so many benders.
Bending is merely one type of skill, one that I will never possess. However, I've spent years mastering every other skill I can.
Raiden suddenly spins low and kicks up into Hakan's abdomen, sending him flying backwards. He lands harshly into the dirt. Narrowing his eyes, Hakan glances back over at his brother.
You forget who has trained me all these years, and as you're well aware, she does not accept failure.
With a spin kick, Hakan stands and fires a wide blast of flame surging towards Raiden. Backing up, Raiden swiftly twirls his staff in front of him in a fast circle to dissipate the flaming attack. However, Hakan continues to kick and advance with several more fiery attacks. Raiden is forced to sidestep back and forth to evade the many infernos racing towards him. Several trees around them catch fire and start to weaken at their bases. Eventually, Raiden finds himself backed up against one of these trees.
You're mine now, brother!
Using both fists, Hakan thrusts a powerful flame blast at Raiden, who barely manages to dive out of the way in time. The fire slashes into the already burning tree, causing it to crack and break. Before Raiden knows it, the small tree falls and pins down one of his legs. With a quiet groan, he tries to free himself. Slowly, Hakan moves towards him with his flaming hands out the way.
It seems the nefarious reign of the Lightning Shadow has come to an end.
Clutching his staff, Raiden swings it low to knock Hakan's feet out from under him. He crashes to the ground next to Raiden and quickly pulls out his hidden dagger. Swiftly, Raiden holds it up to Hakan's throat. Venomously, Hakan stares back at him with narrowed eyes. The moment is interrupted when the cracking of a nearby tree causes them both to look up. Just as the tree is about to crush both of them, a wave of water suddenly swoops in and pushes the tree several yards away. Both Raiden and Hakan turn to find Taki sitting atop Isla, a short distance away near a long river.
She's a waterbender?
Taki raises her arms to send another rush of water forward to separate the twins and free Raiden from the fallen tree. Slowly, he stands as Taki rides over to him on Isla. Raiden looks up at her with a hint of surprise on his face.
You said to go to Isla. You never said anything about not coming back.
Before Raiden has a chance to respond, Hakan stands and charges towards them with a fist of flames. Raiden and Taki brace for the attack. Just as he reaches them, Isla spins and smashes her tail harshly into Hakan, sending him soaring through the air and past several trees. He lands in some bushes a fair distance away.
Nice work, Isla.
Gripping his staff in his hand, Raiden continues to stare off in the direction Hakan is thrown. He looks as though he might run off that way at any second.
Raiden, we should go before he comes back.
Raiden doesn't move.
Remember the mission. Please, Raiden, let's go.
Slowly, Raiden turns his back to Taki and gives a short nod. He climbs up onto Isla behind Taki. With a low growl, Isla turns and dashes into the river waters. She swishes her long body and tail back and forth as she swims down the lengthy river. By now, Khan has recovered and sprints over to the edge of the river. Raiden glances back at his brother as they steadily grow farther apart. Narrowing his eyes, Khan tightens his hands into fists. As they become nearly out of view, Khan turns when he hears approaching footsteps. Faye moves swiftly over to him.
Faye, I need you to round up the troops and prepare the ship for immediate departure.
Narrowing his gaze, Hakan glances back over at the river with a sharp inhale.
We have a new objective.
Of course, Captain. It will be done at once.
As Isla swerves back and forth through the river waters, Taki and Raiden sit in silence for quite some time. Finally, Taki glances back at Raiden.
So, you have a brother, a twin. Has it really been 7 years since you've last seen him?
In silence, Raiden continues to sit with his back to Taki. He stares out at the forest behind them, becoming smaller and smaller as they make their way down the river. Taki faces forward again with a sigh.
Look, I know that you're a person of few words, but this is relevant to the mission, to us traveling together.
With a concerned look, Taki turns back to Raiden.
Is your brother Hakan going to hinder our search for my father?
After an endless minute, Raiden moves to face Taki. With a somewhat somber expression, he stares back at her.
I am wanted all over the world for countless crimes I've committed. The Fire Nation, in particular, aims to apprehend me at all costs. All of their military forces and leaders, including my brother, will stop at nothing to capture or kill me. If you still want my assistance in locating your father, just know that your life will be at risk every moment with me.
Deep in thought, Taki glances down at the swirling water around them. A moment later, she looks up at Raiden with a gentle smile.
Well then, better watch each other's backs from here on out.
Raiden blinks back at Taki in slight astonishment. Her smile stretches wider as she slowly turns back around. Taki reaches forward and pets Isla on the neck. In turn, Isla gives a low, gleeful growl.
Onward we go, to find my father. Although without having found the post office, we don't know where the trail leads next.
Actually, I did manage to locate the post office.
Really? Find anything about my father?
I spoke with the woman there who had seen your father pass through over 10 years ago. He had sent a letter to Shujing, most likely his hometown, and received this letter back.
Raiden pulls out the partially crumpled letter and hands it to Taki. Gripping it tightly in her hands, Taki quickly reads it over. Wide-eyed, she looks up at Raiden.
His parents, they died before he ever got to see them again.
I doubt he would have returned to Shujing then.
Solemnly, Taki looks down at the letter.
Well, very sad for him. He's all alone.
Think how he'll react when he finds out he has a daughter.
Taki looks up to find Raiden staring out at the water with the same blank expression. Slowly, a tiny grin appears on her face.
True. I'm sure it'll be quite the surprise. A good one, hopefully.
We need to find him first. The woman at the post office suggested to Tayo that he travel to one of the harbor towns south of here to look for work.
Good to know. It's definitely worth checking out.
Taki faces the front again and reaches forward to pet Isla's neck once more. With an energetic howl, Isla's speed increases as they swim through the crystal clear river. 34 AG, Fire Nation, capital city. In her dimly lit officer's quarters, Kata sits behind a wide desk. Her back is to the door as she stares up at the Fire Nation insignia on the back wall. A few moments later, the door opens as Natsu enters timidly.
General Kata, ma'am?
This had better be important, Natsu.
Yes, Hawk just came in with a message for you. It's from your son. I mean, from Captain Hakan.
With a heavy exhale, Kata turns around in her chair and holds out her hand.
Oh, for goodness sake, just hand it over, Lieutenant.
Yes, ma'am.
With a quick, respectful bow, Natsu hands Kata the letter. She opens it, but stops before reading it to narrow her eyes at Natsu.
Sorry, ma'am. I'll just leave you that.
With another awkward bow, Natsu turns and scurries out of the room, shutting the door behind him. Kata shakes her head slightly, and then glances down at the short letter with a quiet exhale. As she reads the letter, her eyes gradually expand. Once she's finished reading, Kata's eyes narrow slowly as her hand erupts in fire, setting the letter ablaze. She looks up as the burning paper falls onto her metal desk.
After all these years.
Thank you for listening to A Tale of the Sun and Moon by Megan Sly. This has been episode 7, The Soldier. Voice talents included Michaela Case as the narrator, Sharia Bunce as Taki, Joshua Malley as Tayo, Alec Leonard as Hakan, Dawson Elke as Raiden, Megan Sly as Faye, Mitch Daikin as Natsu, Abby Day as Kata, and Felicia Nicole as additional voices.